Hi, my name is Bente, I'm the Norse witch, and in this week's video I want to tell you why I decided to join a coven after several years of solitary practice. So as some of you may know from other videos, because I think I already mentioned it there, I started out my practice, I found out about witchcraft via YouTube videos. Just like probably a lot of people, I found out about witchcraft and paganism through Harmony Nice's videos. Back in the days, like 5 years ago, I think. Yeah, because I found out about witchcraft and paganism via the internet and not via friends or family, I had no one really to practice with. No one in my surroundings, none of my friends, none of my family members were interested in witchcraft or paganism. So I started out practicing solitarily. I learned by myself, I practiced my first rituals, and I practiced my divination by myself. I did everything by myself. I even celebrated the Sabbaths by myself, which is completely fine if you want to do it. Honestly, in the beginning I was pretty happy with being solitary because, as you may also know from some other videos, because I've mentioned it there, and maybe from Instagram or something, I suffer from social anxiety. So yeah, I was pretty happy actually in the beginning being solitary because there was no one that I could embarrass myself in front of and stuff. So in the beginning I started out solitarily. I did everything by myself, but I'm a person that really loves to share their passions, and spirituality, witchcraft, paganism, it really quickly became a huge passion of mine, and it's really the one thing that I'm passionate about in my life. But because, as I said, I was a solitary practitioner, I had no one to talk to about paganism, witchcraft, everything like that. I found some people online, on Instagram maybe, but it's just not the same as having someone to talk to in person. And it was especially hard for me because my boyfriend at that time, who's my ex-boyfriend, he didn't accept me on my witchcraft journey, like, at all. He didn't tolerate it, he didn't understand it, he didn't want to accept it. So it was even harder because every time I don't know, I had a nice experience, I did a tarot reading that really worked out or something like that, I wanted to tell him at least about it because he was my boyfriend, but he didn't want to know anything about it because he didn't believe in it. So I really didn't have anyone to talk to. Luckily, also through Harmony Nice back then, I discovered the Amino app, the Witches and Pagans Amino app, and via that app I found other German witches that I could connect to, and that had started a WhatsApp group where we could just chat about the topic. It's pretty funny because that WhatsApp group it still exists and it's still very active. I think it has been now 4 or 5 years that this group has existed. It's amazing. We are now all very good friends and it's really cool. But still, it was just over the internet, and yeah, I didn't really have a community where I lived. Soon afterwards, luckily I found a small group of other practitioners where I lived in my town, and we started meeting a couple of times, we did some rituals together, but at some point, pretty fast, unfortunately, this group stopped meeting. So that community was also gone, and again I was completely solitary. Luckily, 3 of the small group in my town who were meeting, they were also in the WhatsApp group, which still existed, so we stayed in contact and we met a couple of times. I actually ended up moving in with 2 of them later on, and one of them became my best friend, so that's awesome. But I still was solitary. We did some stuff together, but it still felt like I was missing a community. And I must say, honestly, I have been really happy staying solitary for a long time. I always wanted to have like some contact to other practitioners, just to be able to have some exchange about the topic, to learn from them. But for the longest part, I was pretty happy staying solitary, because I always thought that if I would join a coven, I would lose a lot of my individual practice, because honestly, I've never been the person to just take spells that I read somewhere and perform those. I was always the person that wrote her spells herself. I always felt like I did things a little bit differently, and I didn't really want to adhere to any structure that was already existing and that I would have to kind of, adhere to. A really big part of that was that I just didn't want anyone else to tell me how to practice my witchcraft and my paganism, because I bet a lot of you can relate. Witchcraft and paganism is such an individual and personal thing, and that's one of the most beautiful parts about witchcraft and paganism, I think, is that you can really make it yours. There is no guidebook or no rules that you have to adhere to. And I didn't really want to lose that. So I just continued practicing solitarily, and I think I did that for roughly 3.5 years. So I was solitary 3.5 years, until at some point I stumbled across a random meetup in my town by a person that I had not known before, and a friend of mine wanted to go there to just check it out. And at first I was like, social anxiety, no, I don't want to go there, I don't want to meet new people. But I'm so happy that I decided to still go. Honestly, I think if my friend didn't go there, I think I wouldn't have gone. So I'm really happy that everything turned out the way it did, because we went there, and the organizer of the group, she wanted to create a new coven in my town, because there, as far as we knew, there weren't any existing covens. I don't know why, but in Germany it's just not a thing. Everybody practices solitarily. I think partly because nobody really dares to tell each other that they're witches or pagans, because people just ridicule you for it. They think you're crazy, that you believe in such stuff. I think that's a big part of why most people in Germany practice solitarily. So yeah, it turned out that the organizer of the meetup, she wanted to create a completely new coven. And I don't know why, honestly, because beforehand I hadn't planned to join a coven. But at that point, my intuition just told me that I should just do it. It just felt right in the moment to create a coven with her. So 4 of us, there were 4 people who were interested in creating a new coven. We met up later on, I think in the following week, on some day in the following week. And yeah, we spoke about it and we decided to do it. So yeah, there the journey began. We started to create a completely new tradition, and I think that was perfect for me, because everything that was so important for me in my practice, I can bring into this tradition, and that is awesome. So yeah, our coven has existed for over 1.5 years now. We're all unfortunately not yet initiated into our own tradition, because that was supposed to happen October 2020, but COVID happened, so we couldn't really meet anymore. So our initiation is now planned for this year, and I'm so excited for it. Yeah, just having a group of people, a community, it's a family. We are really a family. It feels like family. Yeah, just having a community, a family that you can practice your passion with and talk about your passion. It is honestly amazing. And I haven't lost any of my individuality, because, I mean, here at home, when I practice by myself, I can still do everything exactly the way that I want to. And since I got the chance to create a new tradition with other people, I'm able to add my own individual take on witchcraft and paganism to the tradition. So it just feels completely right to me. It's just very beautiful. I'm so excited about finally being able to do proper public meetups again, for example, to maybe meet people that would be interested in joining our coven too. It will be amazing just celebrating all the Sabbats together, celebrating the aspects together, so the full moons and the new moons. So yeah, that's the story of how I joined a coven and why I joined a coven. Do you practice solitarily or are you in a coven? Especially if you're a German practitioner. Are you in a coven? Because I don't know of any covens in Germany. And honestly, how fun would it be to have our covens meet? That would be amazing. So no matter where you live, but especially if you're German, tell me in the comments if you're solitary or if you are in a coven, and if you would like to join a coven if you're solitary. Because who knows, maybe in the comment section you'll meet someone in your area that you can create a coven with, or you will meet an existing coven that you can join. As always, feel free to subscribe and give a thumbs up, and follow me on Instagram and on TikTok, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!